Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ezekiel Gentle. Today I'm going to be talking about my mental health journey. I want to tell you about what medication I've been on, what therapy services I've experienced, and overall what my experience has been like improving my mental health. So, number one, I want to take you all the way back to when I first started therapy, and that's only about 4 years ago. It was 2020. I was working in an Apple store. My stress was peak. And there was one experience in particular I can tell you about where a certain celebrity by the name of CeeLo Green came in, and his iPhone was actually causing him some electric shock experiences in his arm. So when Apple hears that, they take safety concerns very, very seriously, and they needed to, for liability reasons, take the phone, give him a temporary replacement until they can get it situated, right? Here's the problem. He didn't have a backup. This is like a week after the Grammys. He just won 2 Grammys. His phone didn't have a backup. So I'm sitting there with CeeLo Green and his son for 3 hours talking, connecting, working on his phone, getting it backed up. It's a ton of data. We get it backed up, we get it done. But I remember after that, I came to the back and I'm talking to the managers. I'm about to go on a break, and I just couldn't get my heart rate down. Could not get my heart rate to go down. And I remember realizing, like, oh, I don't have the tools I need. I'm peaking stress right now, and I don't know what to do. This is when I very first started to meditate. I went into the changing room, turned the lights off, put on a guided meditation. You realize that you don't have to actually do something, say something to meditate. These guided meditations, they just take you like a dog on a walk through this meditation. I have a playlist on Spotify, I'll link below, called Mindful AF if you ever want to check it out. It's great for guided meditations. And this is where I built that playlist. I started it when I was at the Apple store doing this meditation. Things progressed, if you remember correctly. 2020 became 2021. Other issues became very pertinent and real, and it was very stressful still. So, what did I do? I got into therapy. And I was taking advantage of my medical benefits. So I wanted to be sure to get every bit of value I could out of it. So I got into therapy, I got a psychiatrist, and I got on medication for the first time. Now, I'm not recommending anything that I did to you guys here. You got to think about what's best for you. Get a professional doctor, at least one, two doctors' opinions, and then also consider, what do you think is best for you? You know your body best, you know your mind best. I knew at this point I was willing to try other things. So I said, yeah, let's try this. I've heard of this one medication. Could we give it a shot? We tried it. I kid you not, the first sensation I had was as if somebody took a zipper, and it's as if my head was like open, but there was a zipper track in the middle, and they just zoop, like zipped up my head. I know how weird that sounds, but it was as if my thoughts were open to other people being able to see them. When I got on medication, I just felt this, it just dialed me back a little bit into my own experience, my own body. Stayed on that for a while, experimented with different dosages, and got into therapy at the same time. Now, here's where I wanted to get. So I'm still meditating. I'm still on the same medication, although the dose has been quite adjusted since that first experience 4 years ago. Um, but therapy has come and gone. And this is what I wanted to get to. Mental health is supremely important for all of us. Mental health does not equal going to therapy. Going to therapy is a part of a mental health practice, but just like going to the gym, uh, you know, bicep curls are a part of your gym practice. You don't do bicep curls every single time you're there. So you don't need to go to talk therapy every single time you're trying to make effort in your personal growth. It's helpful, it's great, but here's where I wanted to bring up a problem. If you struggle with ruminating on things, if some things you haven't dealt with before, you are willing to now excavate, just be sure that you have the bandwidth to address and deal with these things, because it's going to be very tenuous, very uncomfortable. But if you have that extra kind of, you know, mental bandwidth for you to deal with some of these things as they come up, feelings, memories, the things that therapy bring up, then go for it. But if you're not in a place of change and willing to look under the hood and able to kind of evaluate everything in that moment, I don't think talk therapy is the best thing in that moment. And if it is, look at the approach of the therapist, because we love to think, oh, therapy, but that therapy is just a monolith. There's so many different kinds of therapy and talk therapy. I want to give you one distinction. Every therapist I had up until recently was all about resolving past issues. What I'm currently focused on is a more problem solving active approach. The therapist has this approach of looking inward for current and future ideas and goals and ideals. So I think that's very helpful for me because I'm action oriented and I ruminate. So when I go backwards and I just look at the past, it can bring some of these things to the present in a way that you weren't even experiencing before. I wasn't even experiencing before. But to fully deal with it, you have to get it out like a cavity. You have to go all the way in there where all the decay is, get all the decay out, and then wash it all out. And then you can put in a filling. So I think that kind of has to happen with some of the stuff we're talking about here. I guess I could just say, as a Christian, I had outsourced so many major questions that without being a Christian definitively, or an evangelical Christian in that way, I really have to wrestle with, I really have to deal with, defining my purpose as it relates to other people. How do I help and serve the community I'm a part of, I'm around? One other reason it was important for me to go through therapy is because I had gone through this major paradigm shift of being a devout Christian to questioning. I went through a divorce my parents divorced when I was 7. So there were just various things that needed to be addressed. And had a bit of an estranged relationship with kind of both my parents for a while, in different ways. But I needed therapy for those reasons. It's been good. I have it now too, but for different reasons. I kind of went through the past thing and it's like, okay, great. What can I do now? So I just wanted to say all this to say that most of you watching have most likely been through painful life events. And you don't have to consider it trauma to get benefit and value from therapy. Therapy is not this clinical arbiter of health. It's just somebody to talk to who knows what they're doing when they talk to you. Instead of wondering, like, oh, what's this person going to say if I tell them that? The therapist, you can just tell them stuff, ideally. I mean, there's certain laws and stuff in certain states where if you tell them something incriminating, they'll have to report it. But overall, you can just kind of dump and share. Um, but even if it's not a therapist, have a coach, have a person, somebody who you can talk to, because this life is too short for you to suffer for longer than you need to. I really don't believe you came here to suffer. I don't believe I came here to suffer. And I think any suffering we've experienced thus far has been for learning and for growth, but that does not mean it continues. There's a future for us, there's a bright and abundant hope for change and for better experiences and for a better internal world, a better emotional landscape, a better inner voice, inner monologue. I believe in you. I believe in the best for you, and I hope you do too. Okay. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, drop a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you in the next one.